Welcome guys, it's Edwin, and today we're going to be talking about the signature series Zealot, okay, by Emerson knife. And if I remember correctly, we saw this release in 2014. And if you're not aware, the signature series on Emerson is when they release a certain model in a limited fashion, okay, and maybe you might see it on the production that year or not, okay. In this case, the Zealot, we haven't seen them in the production. It got released as part of the signature series in 2014, and that's it, okay? So be aware of that. Things like the Chopstick, the Apache, models like that they got released as part of the signature series and you never see them again is part of the whole thing about it, right? Of the signature series program. So that's pretty cool. It allows Ernest Emerson to release experimental models or, and see how people react to it and things like that, right? So I think that's excellent. Really, really cool. Now, the word Zealot, okay, I was not aware of this. The Zealot is basically, they were a radical Jewish sect back in the day, at the time of Christ, at the time of the Roman occupation. And they were a sect that they will fight for what they believe. And when I'm talking about fighting, it was like, aggression and fighting for what they believed, that was basically freedom and the ideal of being free. Okay, so this is a little bit of the inspiration on this knife, that history of the Zealots. And let's go with it. The first thing you will notice about this knife is that it has a choil. Okay, that front choil right there that you don't see that much or at all with Emerson folders. I think this might be the first knife with a choil. And hey, I'm not a huge fan of front choils, but I always welcome designs like this, right? Because it will remind you of stuff like the SMF, right? Like you can see. And now this is the SMF, and we know the SMF is a big knife, right? So you can see that the Zealot right there is definitely a big knife. We're talking about 9.1 inches, okay? And that blade is 4 inches. The edge on that blade is 3.25 inches or so based on my measurements, okay? But this is how it compares with the SMF, that is one of those classic models that we all know, right? Now, let's compare with the Spyderco Tenacious, because it's one of those classic that we're always comparing with, right? And again, Zealot is definitely a big knife. It will be more in the line with the Buck 110 that we know is one of those big boys right there, right? And that's how it compares with the Buck 110. And one of the knives, in terms of handles, one of the knives that it reminds me, it's not a one-on-one comparison, but it definitely reminds me of the CQC 13, sorry there, because the CQC 13 is taller, but in terms of size and that great finger guard and how that handle grabs in your hand, it definitely reminds me of the CQC 13 or the Tiger, right? And stuff like that have similar style of handle. Let's do this one just because I have it around as well. This is how it compares with the CQC 7. I'm still working on this guy. I forgot to finish it from my last video, but you can see this is a 3.3 inch blade, smaller overall profile like we know. So let's take it out over here. Now let's look at this beautiful blade. It has this Japanese style tanto, in my opinion. It starts with this belly. It's like a Quaken style of tanto, and then you have this curve right here. It's not as pronounced as the CQC7, right? But it's definitely that tanto curve right there. You have that switch on it. Beautiful V grind like we know from Emerson in this satin finish. If I'm correct, the Zealot came in the black finish as well. So you might see some of those in the black finish. And guys, I love this style of blade, okay? Then you have that front choil right there. You can see, let me show you the logo real quick. Zealot Emerson 2014, serial number 60. I'm not sure how many of these were made, maybe 60 something or usually it's at that range, 60 from satin and 60 from black finish and stuff like that. So be aware of that. You have that front choil that is big, guys, like this, like the SMF, right? And then the normal finger guard right here with your classic G10 constructions that I love, right? It's using the classic standoff knife from the modern production knife, and you have your classic Benchmade clip, okay? Perfect package for your pockets. It's definitely a thinner in terms of how tall it is. It hides very well for the size of this knife. And again, great lockup there. Okay, in terms of ergonomics, this handle is great. It's, again, like I mentioned, it reminds me of the CQC13. It feels excellent in the hand, okay, and I don't mind it at all. I will say that front choil in this grip is okay. It works great. It feels good. It feels good with it. I'm not a huge front choil style of guy. The only thing I will say is that if you go this way, then you're going to feel that wave right there. I haven't done any huge, tough tasks with this knife, so I cannot tell you if it's going to be an issue or not with this style of grip, but I should tell you that I definitely see that wave, hitting you right here if you go in this mode. This mode will be fine, and this might be the preferred way for some of the guys using it for some hard tasks right there, okay? And again, no problems. Again, this grip is excellent. Of course, like we know with all Emerson knife, reverse grip is just insane as well. So again, an excellent model. I love when Emerson goes outside of, his realm of knives and designs, and he starts drawing and doing stuff that is a little bit different, like that front choil that we usually never see on an Emerson production knife, okay? So I will tell you, even that I'm not a fan of front choils knife, I will definitely welcome more designs like these, other interpretations of this from Emerson knife, and see what they come what they come with. It's always fun to see that in the books and see how they work. The Zealot, guys, is one of those knives that is definitely a fighter, definitely a utility knife, and I would recommend it if you are looking for it, or you see it on the market. It's pretty difficult to find, but if you see it around, no problem, just go and grab it, because it's definitely a big, beefy knife that will get the job done. And guys, if you have any other questions, feel free to jump in on Instagram, YouTube, the Facebook forums, ECOC and Emerson operators. We're always there, guys, sharing information and answering questions, asking questions and all that. Even myself, when I have questions, I'm not an expert on all these knives, and sometimes I just need to jump in and start asking, like, hey, where this name come from and stuff like that. And dude, there's a mountain of knowledge in those groups that you will find from Emerson knives and all that. So again, you guys have a great day and have a safe weekend out there. Have a good one. Bye.